All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live. Here with you on a Thursday. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian as we get you ready for all of tonight's action. We have got NBA, we've got college hoops, we've got the last night of NHL regular season games for about 3 weeks as the guys are going to be heading over to Milan for the Olympics after tonight. We, of course, are still getting ready for the Super Bowl this weekend. Very, very busy. Doug is there. In San Francisco, or they got that building. I'll ask Doug, is it San Francisco, Santa Clara? Where do they got the convention center this year? We'll find out in a moment. And as Doug always says, don't bury the lead. 3 straight daily doubles on Betting Weekly Live. The PM crew coming back here and getting it going. Doug, how are you?
The gambling gods are trying to make it harder on us, throwing us to the wolves and making me move around, things like that. But no, and they're going to really try to throw you a curveball with no hockey for the next couple of days. We're just going to keep trucking away. You can't stop us. It's like Happy Gilmore, taking it off the chest in the batting cage. So that's how we roll. But we're going to keep churning out winners regardless. Now, 2 of my 3, I don't know if you have an asterisk because Ty Jerome's accounted for 2 of the winners. But hey, they're separate games, Monday and Wednesday. He plays Friday and Saturday, too, so maybe we'll have to triple dip this week if the odds makers aren't going to learn their lesson. But we are on a roll, and obviously here at Super Bowl, betting is always a big topic now with legalization and everything. But it's nice to be picking winners from here.
Now, do we have where exactly, Doug, do they have the convention center this year? Is it closer to San Francisco?
The Moscone Center, which I believe is downtown. Everywhere is like a 45-minute Uber ride. Even though it's like 7 miles. I mean, look, I'm a guy who grew up in LA and knows traffic pretty well. This is out of control. I went to the Warriors game last night. I got a free ticket, but the Uber there and back probably cost more than the ticket. But you know what? We're cleaning up here with our wagers, our daily doubles.
Have you gotten one of the driverless cars yet? Because that's been another.
No, I'm very excited because my family's still in LA. They have them there. They're not allowed to go on the freeway in LA. So my sister-in-law has told me all about it one day, and I really want to do it. So my buddy last night left an event, and he was all excited to take a Waymo. So I maybe have to. I'm gonna delve into that before I go. I heard in LA, I guess there were 4 that came to the intersection of surface streets at the same time, and they all had to call help because they couldn't figure out who to go first.
They got all jammed up. That's been like the best content for everybody out there this week. I'm seeing all these videos of everyone getting into the Waymos. That has been the thing for everyone who's made the trek to Radio Row. All right, let's get going here, Doug, for tonight. Actually, for this weekend, because every day we've been starting the show this week with Super Bowl 60, Patriots and the Seahawks. I wish I could tell you, Doug, that things had changed, but they haven't. I mean, 4 days in a row here, 4.5 and 45.5. I can't get this thing to budge for you, Doug.
No, it's going to hold steady, too. And I told you guys that yesterday. That's been the case. So it's been one-way traffic at the books. I talked to one odds maker. They moved to 5 a little bit at another sports book, and they got some money. They went from 6-1 ticket count to 3-1 ticket count. But he says we probably would have gone lower than 6-1 anyway. So it's 4.5 painted. Sharps have bet a little in the Patriots. But as we know, the public does influence the Super Bowl spread more than any other game. But the majority of the action comes in 48 hours of kickoff, so we'll know a lot more starting tomorrow. But the total has come down, and the odds maker I spoke to, he's like, yeah, but they bet it last year under and see what happens. So they don't overreact to the unders when the Super Bowl, sharp money comes in on the under of the game. They just think it's, whatever. But I don't think it's going to move. I really don't. I thought it would go up to 5.5, 6. I'm wrong. As of now, I'm wrong, but I've revised that. I don't think it's going to move much over the next few days.
It certainly does not seem that way. Let's get into a few other things that we have not discussed yet this week, and we'll start with the MVP odds that we have going into this game. Now, obviously, there is a clear divide here. You have the top 4 names on the board, which is the 2 quarterbacks with Darnold and Drake May, the 2 big offensive pieces for Seattle, Kenneth Walker and JSN. And then a very large gap, Doug, between anybody else. We'll talk about long shots in a moment, but out of that big 4 at the top, what do you like the best out of the chalk?
So I think it's a fascinating discussion, and I think the sports centers of the world are kind of missing sort of how to do betting content because I think it's really interesting and we're going to do it now. Very rarely do you have, like we're talking Trent Dilfer in 2000, rare, where you have a Super Bowl favorite, this high of a favorite, 230-ish, right? 225, 230, and the quarterback money line plus 125, right? Like 2 years ago, we had the Niners and the Chiefs, and the Niners were slight favorites. It was under 3. It was like 1.5 or 2. And then, Brock Purdy was like plus 130 or so. This is a wider gap because the money line on Seattle is so much higher. And I just think there's value. I think you have to bet Darnold MVP if you think the Seahawks are going to win. Now, is there a path he doesn't win? Of course. Even when we have these great quarterbacks who win the Super Bowl, like Brady didn't win every MVP. There is a path where he doesn't. But we talk about betting value every day. And I've joked that I'm going to but it's true. I'm going to have more on a college basketball game or NBA game that Sunday than the games. I don't love the game necessarily, but I just think you're always looking for value. I just think there's distinct value at plus 125. Yes, there's a path where the Seahawks win and he doesn't win MVP, but there's also many more paths where he does, and you're just getting plus money. Like I think he should be minus 120 for a 230 favorite, right? I think I get it. He's not the same as Patrick Mahomes, where it's like a 10-cent difference. Fine. He shouldn't be a 10-cent difference. I get it. Fine. Don't make him minus 200, 220, right? But plus 125 is pretty outrageous when he's just coming off an NFC game where he actually was the reason they won, right? In the past, they've had to hide him. Defensive game plans are saying, make him beat you, things like that. Well, now he was all world in the last game. So even off of that type of game, I find it surprising, especially because both teams are going to have trouble running the ball. I think because both defenses. So I think it's going to be a quarterback-driven game in a lot of ways. So for Darnold to be plus 125 for a minus 230 favorite is very surprising, and I think thus has line value.
Yeah, and you just have to really just look at the other side, right, Doug, to see the difference. I mean, there isn't much between the Patriot money line and Drake May. You're really not going that far off walking that far off the bridge to go to just taking the money line with the Patriots. It's a lot closer than Darnold and the Seahawks.
Right. It's a more conventional sort of distribution. And I get it. The books have a whole percentage and they're taking bets on the kicker to win MVP. And the books aren't going to sweat. Bet Rivers isn't worried about plus 125 versus giving out plus 125 on versus minus 110 or whatever it is, because that's like an odds boost. They're more worried about the 50 to 1s, the 30 to 1s, and 20 to 1s. I get that. But I would just, if JSN's taken a lot of handle, I get it. He's come down. We bet, remember we talked about it 3 weeks ago, betting 14 to 1. So I get it. You can't have everyone low odds, and I get it. I just think it's really interesting. And I think it's mispriced slightly. It's not egregious, but it's slightly mispriced.
We discussed the kickers the other day and how big their numbers is. Is there anybody else after these big four, and aside from the kickers, where you're like, maybe I could see a little bit of path. It's worth a little bit of a blast, whether it's, I've seen a lot of people pumping Shaheed up for Seattle. Personally, for me, Doug, I think that for Shaheed to win, that takes like 2 touchdowns, and one of them's got to be like a kick return for a touchdown.
I was going to say, be careful with the receivers because that entails the quarterbacks throwing them too.
Right.
And I'm a big believer that the Heisman should almost always go to the quarter. If you're touching the ball on every play and you're also audibling, right, and you're not making the bad play, like you're not pulling a Stidham with the backhanded pass under pressure. Like, let's not forget the multitude of things that could happen just when a quarterback throws the ball away or takes a sack, whatever. So I just think quarterbacks should be the deference all the time with these MVPs. So, but a running back's different, but a running back hasn't won it in like decades, this award. It's not something. Now, I get it. The teams that go to the Super Bowl typically don't have a good running back. Barkley was rare last year, but it's typically the Patriots who are running back by committee and the Rams when they had the defense with Aaron Donald and everything. But I could see a big game by one of these running backs, but both teams are so good at stopping the run. Like I like Kenneth Walker unders, right? Those have been bet under. And then so maybe a Travion Henderson and things like that. But I'd like to remind people, Cooper Kupp did win it. So of the last 5 years, we've had 4 quarterbacks. The one that doesn't want Cooper Kupp, and he had Matthew Stafford. So he didn't have like a lemon of a quarterback, and Kupp was fantastic, had all those catches and had the big one after like 9 shifty penalties, got one the go-ahead touchdown there in LA. So there's a path for everything. You don't know how these guys are going to vote. But in terms of like a long shot, like maybe Travion Henderson or Ramondre Stevenson, because they could break screen pass, things like that. I just think you're kind of drawing dead. I really do. I think there's better long shots to get.
I'm with you. Usually I can find a couple of these that I want to stash away. And I don't know if it's just maybe relates to my feeling on the game overall, but I can't find it. I just really can't find anybody that I'm excited to go.
I think you're better off doing these like funky score outcomes, like doing the exact scores of 23-10, whatever. Like, right. I think those long shots are more fun. And then you could kind of play out of them, to be honest. If it's like 20-10 and they're driving, you could bet on touchdown if you have 23-10, like, things like that to offset it.
I prefer these like longest rush, longest reception. Like I kind of prefer some of those. A little bit more fun. You got gas for the entire game. Let's do some other stuff. Props for the game. Game props.
And by the way, I'm not above it, Carver. I bet the Kickers a couple years ago in the KC Niners game. And remember, they hit like 55 yarders too. I thought I had it. So I have made crazy bets, and I don't blame anyone. I personally am not seeing it.
I don't either, and I'm with you. I gave you the Devin White story the other day about the Tampa game. Like I had him that year, and I felt honestly robbed that he didn't get the MVP. So like I'm sitting there going, man, Christian Gonzalez 2 picks off of Darnold. Maybe one to the house, 150-1. I'm like, this is just way too like it's fantastical stuff. Like I'm trying to will things in. All right, some game props. Let's go with a few of these for the game, and then I'll talk to you about touchdowns in general. Massaro kind of was talking a lot about some of the slow starts, especially in these Patriots Super Bowls and stuff like that. How about things? Do you like anything getting off to a slow start here, Doug?
Yeah, so I think I talked about some of the stuff the last couple days, right? I think, the game plan of these offense coordinators can change in the Super Bowl versus the regular season. Those are kind of the betting angles you want. What's different about this game where the market might be wrong because the market's using stats from the entire year? Well, the Super Bowl, the stage is big, right? I mean, you got flashlights going off at the kickoff. It's the nerves, the Super Bowl media day, all the commotion. So coaches want to kind of play it fairly conservatively, fairly vanilla to start the game. So I like both quarterbacks. First completion, under 7.5 yards. You're not going to be throwing downfield on 2nd and 8 and all of a sudden bring up 3rd and 8. The last thing you want to do when you get the opening kickoff is go 3 now. So it's going to be a lot of check downs. I think a lot of bubble screens, maybe a conventional screen. Typically what teams do when you have a good pass rush and a bad offensive line, like the situation when the Patriots have the ball, is you want to make teams go sideline to sideline. You want to soften them up and frustrate the pass rushers and keep them from going north-south. So you don't want to run at them. You want to run to the sidelines. You want to soften them up. And that's what, if people remember, that's what Ohio State did to Michigan before they started throwing deep, because Michigan had the early lead. You want to soften them up sideline to sideline, give them the impression they want to cover. They have to cover the entire field, and then you can go down over the top. So I think you're going to want to soften them and to get that first complete. So I just think it's going to be a lot of matriculation down the field. So I just think we're going to have not explosive plays to start. I also think the kickoff rules nowadays versus several years ago or a few years ago and before, it's just highly unlikely there's going to be a huge kick return. Now they're going to get the ball at like the 30, but again, it takes time to chew the clock. And if you get a punt, you're golden. So I do like that first score, so to speak, after a handful of minutes.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of play into a slow start as well with one of the things that I'm going to have a little fun with. We've seen a lot of comebacks in the NFL this year. I mean, look, it's been a wild year with teams coming back in the second half. There's been a lot of craziness. And if it's a slow start, maybe that does factor New England a little bit here, getting us into halftime. How about New England to win the first half and Seattle to win the game at plus 600, Doug? Can I get you in at that? Ooh. Patriot lead at halftime, Seahawk to win, plus 600.
Aren't the Patriots like 18-2 on the first half line this year? Something insane.
Something wild like that. Yes, they've been a good first half team.
I could see that. So I don't have the prop in front of me. Is that a 3-way betting? So the Patriots have to have the lead at minus a half. So it's and is it a regulation? Is it regulation? Like there's no overtime?
Because there's a tie so that is a 3-way market, like you say. So if
for the second half, it's tie as well.
Yes, it's 3.
Okay.
So this is an exact.
So is it fourth quarter or is it end of game?
It's fourth quarter. It's fourth quarter.
Okay, so that is a little different. So they have to win the game in regulation.
Yep.
Okay. Because what you could do, it's like parlaying Patriots first half and then overtime prop, depending which one's better. But you could also think if you get over. But yeah, I think that's a fun way to look at it, because a lot of times it's such a coin flip. Literally a coin flip. Who's going to get the ball first half? But then who could have the lead on that last possession of the first half? We saw the Rams lost the game because they got the punt with a minute 20 to go or minute 30 to go and somehow didn't end the half with the ball. They went 3 and out and did not burn enough clock. So I do like that concept, because you're getting 6-1, and it's going to be, so you have to ask yourself, for the Seahawks to not be money line favorites, they're probably going to have to be trailing by 4 or more. 3, I think they'd probably be a favorite on the game line, depending on who gets the ball second half. But that's how I would go about it.
And I'm thinking that if this is the scenario, that the Patriots probably are only a 3-point lead at halftime or something like that. Like, I think it's going to be a little lower scoring, close to the vest, kind of the stuff we've been talking about over the last couple of days. Let's do some touchdown stuff. Now, I have been looking. I know that we couldn't find the no touchdown in the first half. I know for the game, it's like 110-1. No touchdown for the game. They do have an under 2.5 Bet Rivers right now for the first half. I haven't kind of even narrowed down yet, Doug. I like to do 2 or 3 touchdown plays. It's only one game this week, so it makes it a little bit tougher. It's kind of like everything with this game. I'm having a hard time trying to lock into one thing that I like more than the next. I think I'm going to play Hunter Henry on the New England side of things. There's some pretty good bombs for first and last touchdown, which you always like, because again, after those top 4 guys of Walker, JSN, and even Stevenson, everyone is a pretty good bomb for first and last touchdown.
And I think that's the way to play the bombs. If we're looking for big payouts, I like your plus 600. That's certainly nice. So yes, does it take a few things to happen? Yeah, but that's why you're getting plus 600. And then you're also trying to find some real bombs. And I do like the idea of some of these guys off the grid a little bit. I think that's a smart way to go about it, because look, it's the Super Bowl. We don't have to be so nerdy and such a bean counter with, betting value, minus 110 versus plus 125. Like, I get it. That wasn't like the sexiest topic, but you're also asking the quarterback of the favorite to win. I mean, that's one bet you can make and bet fairly big or whatever. And then you can also have the bombs.
Got to have some bombs in there. Both defense, special teams to score is likely landing on my card for Steve. I just saw Henry say that he's been away the last week and he's back. Good to have you back, Henry. Pats have value here. I agree. Good shot to win outright. I have seen a little bit more of that.
Now, let's talk about that, because I've been on some group threads. I've been on some comment section of articles I've written. Why is there value on the Patriots? Seahawks have been the best team for 3 months. Okay. So what's the value? You think it should be a 3-point spread? You think the Patriots should be favored? I mean, like, where's this logic coming from?
I don't see it. I'm kind of siding with you.
So I'm assuming that the Patriots should be favored because the Seahawks have been the better team and the NFC has been better. Okay. So should they be 3 and not 4.5? Like, where's the margin that's value?
I have felt with you that it should be more than 4.5. So I have, that's how I have kind of felt the entire time. I don't see it. I don't think that there's that much value with it. Look, this is not a 7 or a 10 or a 14 point. I mean, this 4.5, either of these teams could win the game. There's no question when you get down to that. So no touchdowns.
I understand the criticism is maybe a little extreme, like calling the Patriots like the worst team ever to get. I mean, I get that is probably unfounded, right? Like, that's a little much because A, they beat 3 of the top 5 defenses through the AFC playoffs. B, they had crazy weather for 2 of the 3 games, really 3 of them. So I understand the Patriots bashing is unnecessary and probably too much. But then, but it doesn't mean that the Seahawks aren't better and the Seahawks aren't 4.5 points better.
Patriot backers think New England can win. That's the value.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, of course, any team can win. I don't know if anyone saw Pacific beat Gonzaga last night as a 22.5 point dog. But, like, yes, any team can win. The question is, do the odds, the betting value, the return, translate to higher payout than the odds would suggest? So do Patriots backers think it should be more like, I don't know, 55-45 in favor of Seattle? Thinking a team can win, there's a lot of bets of tickets I have in the trash can of teams that can win that didn't. So the thing get questioned with all of these props, everything, will they win, right? So plus 185, do you think it makes that much more sense to grab plus 185 on the money line versus minus 110 on plus 4.5? I mean, that's what you have to decide. And then furthermore, like, do you think that's the line value? Like, I think it's going to be a close game. Like, I could see taking plus 4.5. I do not think the Patriots are going to win. And if I mean, look, I'm not betting the Seattle money line, so obviously they can win. I think it's going to be really close, so they can. And I think a lot's going to come down on how like Darnold plays. I just think it's a really coin flip outcome. So I guess if not coin flip outcome on the actual game, because then I would take the plus 185. I just think there's better ways to bet it, like Darnold plus 125, because I think Seattle's going to win. I just don't know. I'm not comfortable laying the 4.5.
Yeah, you got to find some other creative ways to go around it sometimes. And that's what we try to do here on Betting Weekly Live. Super Bowl 60. We, of course, will have final thoughts, final bets, etc. tomorrow on a big Friday edition heading out for the Patriots and the Seahawks this weekend. Of course, it is February here at Bet Rivers. And how about a February fun bet for you? Tennis, soccer, basketball, whatever sport you're following right now, bet on it with a February fun bet. Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers have teamed up to give you a $10 bonus bet when you enter the bonus code BW201. That code again, BW201. Offer expires February 15th. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. February fun bet here at Betting Weekly Live. All right, let's go, Doug. NBA. We've had a lot of big trades the last couple of days. The deadline passed a couple of hours ago, about an hour and a half, 3 p.m. East. We did get a couple of others this morning and late last night. We had the Zubac to the Pacers. We had one that I actually do want to hear your thoughts on this one. The Warriors getting Porzingis. I know they wanted to get rid of Kuminga. I understood all that, but Porzingis a little washed, in my opinion. But Warriors get Porzingis. Your thoughts on some of these deals?
Very strange. Very strange. I would assume Kuminga can fetch a lot more on the open market. However, we all remember the Micah Parsons trade. And everyone's like, oh, they didn't get enough in return. It's like, yeah, but Parsons also had to get like this max deal and be like on top of that, right? So with Kuminga, I think what comes with that is you have to pay him like this extension and max that, so that's part of the reason why it doesn't maybe feel like apples for apples here. But I don't think it's enough. I would have tried to get more. Porzingis has some health issues. Now, he is a difference maker, but I don't know if the Warriors really think they can make a serious run in the West, given they lost Jimmy Butler for the season with his recent torn ACL. So it's a little unfortunate in that regard. I think the Lakers getting Luke Kennard is very smart. Gabe Vincent can never stay healthy. Kennard, he's Mr. Basketball in Ohio. You know what to do. Mr. Basketball in Ohio for 2 straight years. He scored more high school points than LeBron. He's been a shooter and scorer his whole life. I think he'll really stretch the floor. Now, what that does for Reeves, Luka, and LeBron, I mean, look, I know I'm a Laker fan, but typically I'm not a homer. So I'd say this as a basketball knowledgeable fan. The Lakers are going to be a tough out 4 out of 7. If you get Luka, LeBron, and Reeves, and you have some competent play, I mean, remember, Minnesota last year, they had food poisoning. Luka had food poisoning on that Friday game, and they had the lead with like a minute to go, and they didn't call a moving pick at half court. Luka falls down, loses the ball. Like, that series could have gone a lot of different ways. And I think Luka's better this year. So if you have Luka, LeBron, and Reeves, good luck if you're one of those better teams or higher seeds. Like, that's not going to be a fun series, best out of 7. I think Zubac is interesting. I think Brook Lopez, when Zubac was hurt, made him expendable. For some reason, they spaced the floor better. And I love Matherin. I think he's excellent. Kobe Brown's been a nice piece, young guy with upside. I think Matherin's a dude. I mean, he was like the 3rd pick or 2nd pick, wasn't he? So the fact that you get Matherin, but Zubac is like all-star quality center. I mean, like the last all-star reserve, kind of center. But still, like that's his upside. And he's really solid. And obviously the Pacers certainly needed that. They've been playing Jay Huff at center. But I think it's the crazy good trade for both teams.
In the grand scheme of things, to put a bow on this, has anyone in the league done enough over the last couple days where you would say, oh, wow. And the Knicks, I actually like the Alvarado deal with the Pelicans and McBride's hurt. He's going to be out a while. He's a Brooklyn guy, Christ the King guy. He's, they'll love him at the Garden coming off the bench.
Yeah, but is that like it's like, do they love him like a charity project, or is this like does that make him an actual more of a contender? Because come on, he's got limitations.
He has limitations. I know that little run the Pelicans had a couple years ago. He was a spark plug for them. Whatever. Big picture, Doug. Did anyone do enough in the last 2 or 3 days that you think that they're going to beat the Thunder or the Nuggets in a 7-game series in the playoffs? That's what really matters.
Well, injuries always happen, and the Thunder can't seem to stay healthy all year, whether it's Hartenstein or whatnot. I talked to my buddy, obviously Radio Row out here, Jason Minix with San Antonio Radio, ESPN. And I asked him if the Spurs, he thinks they're a year away. This year's Spurs remind him of the Thunder 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, but it could be a matchup thing. Do they have their number, right? Because we've seen them play, like you said, like 1,000 times since with the NBA Cup and everything. I insist. Now he's based in San Antonio, so he knows more. I still insist it could be a matchup thing, and they have their number. And Wemby, I'll believe anything with him, right? You tell me he's going to win rookie, win MVP and everything. Like, yeah, sure, sign me up. He's that impressive. So. Now, in terms of the parts, like the Nuggets, obviously they sustained another injury, but we're getting Jokic back. Like they're going to be a tough out. Like the Knicks found out last night, like they got some depth now. It's not a bunch of fifth graders playing with Jokic anymore. And they're legit. I want to punt Houston to the moon after yesterday's performance, but I think they could be decent in the playoffs. And Van Vliet could come back for the playoffs. Who knows? I mean, if Tatum's coming back from Achilles, why not? That's a part of this. So to answer your question, no one should unseat them as the favorites, but I think this is going to be far from a walk in the park. And by the way, let's not have revisionist history. I'm not saying the Thunder were lucky, but they were fortunate last year. They were down 2-1 to Denver on the road in Game 4. They were not favored on the money line in the fourth quarter at one point, okay? Game 7 against the Pacers. And that's because the East opened up wide. What if the Celtics don't get hurt? A lot went right for the Thunder. And don't forget they wet the bed 2 years ago. So Hartenstein made a difference. Caruso made a difference last year. But still, it was touch and go a lot. And I thought their coach made some mistakes. So this is far from a predictable. The NBA used to be predictable. That's not the case anymore in the postseason.
What did you think of McCain to OKC? And I saw another one about Vucevic to the Celtics with those two moves.
Those were both interesting. Vucevic makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of Luka Garza. There was a lot of Luka Garza out there. So Vucevic, offensively, a lot depends, I think, on Tatum. Ultimately, the Celtics' future is going to depend on Tatum. But their upside, like their variance is really striking, right? When they have all those guys, Peyton Pritchard, a.k.a. Caitlin Clark, dribbling and shooting, and then all these other shooters with Hauser and company. The Celtics are going to be a very unfun team to face, especially if you're a higher seed. They're going to punch up pretty well. The McCain's interesting. It's another kind of guy off the bench. I didn't think the Thunder needed it, but who knows, right? Like I'm never going to doubt Sam Presti. He's he's a wizard.
He is for sure. All right, let's get to tonight. We've got 8 games in the NBA, including a prime doubleheader. We'll start with those games. The Bulls are in Toronto against the Raptors this evening. Right now, -7.5 for the Raptors. 227 is the total. And the Bulls, I mean, it's just a team of guards now, right? I mean, they got like 12 guards on the team. So they're ready to go.
They have no one over 6'6", right? No one over 6'9". Legitimately. I mean, look, Kevin Love said what Wes Unseld once said, 90% of rebounds are below the rim. So maybe it's just about boxing out, but I'm like tongue in cheek. Do we just take all the Raptors bigs over their rebounding prop? I mean, is this one of those things where like Illinois plays Nebraska in college basketball and they just have this giant size advantage everywhere? I mean, it's not that crazy, right?
No, it's not. I would have, listen, we could find a few guys here on the Raptors.
Because again, these props are calculated based on what's happened up into the regular season up until this point. So if they've played other bigs and then it's normal, but Mamu over 6.5 rebounds, like why not? Yeah. So I think it's a really interesting game. I mean, look, it's really tough. We saw yesterday with some crazy outcomes. Players involved in trade rumors, right? Maybe they're distracted and playing poorly. I mean, there's no business the Rockets should have lost that game yesterday. And there's just going to be crazy outcomes. So I think you got to be careful in the NBA in general, but I just we don't know what we're getting with the Bulls. Maybe their offensive driven roster today is going to be fun and you want to cover 7.5. I just think there's you don't need to bet it. No Giddey tonight either.
No. You did get that Rocket team total under, Doug. I mean, I know they lost the game, but they did get the team total under last night.
Yes.
The Rockets.
And the game under too, yeah.
Well under. Warriors and the Suns is the late night game on Prime. Obviously, the Warriors made a deal last night. They are getting 6 in Phoenix this evening, 214.5.
I think I got to lay it with Phoenix. They're the best record ATS in the entire NBA, 34-17. I mean, that is remarkable. They were a great bet the other night, and it got us there. That extra off a loss. I just don't think much of this Warriors squad right now. Obviously, no Porzingis. I went to the game the other night. Some of these guys are terrible. Curry's out. Obviously, that's most important. But they're just all lost. Kerr can't really get through to them. Draymond is shooting threes with 18 on the play clock and shot clock. What are you doing? You're open for a reason. I just think they're still a team, a brand that gets everyone's best shot. So I would have to lay the 6. I was texting a buddy the other night. I was like, hey, I really like Phoenix. It was 2.5 at the time. And I think it got to 3. And he goes, it seems too easy. What's up? I'm like, you could say that about every Suns game all year. They've been so undervalued. And they're outperforming the metrics. Again, 34-17 ATS. Look, it's a bigger number than 2.5, 3 was the other night, but they're at home. And I think they get up for the Warriors game. So it's not the favorite spot. It's not my best bet. I do like it. Now, some of the clowns on the Warriors, you might want to take advantage of because they got to shoot the ball at some point. And it's not just Podziemski. And I like both their bigs and their scoring. So Quentin Post, the guy just gets incredible foul trouble. I mean, he fouls like no other, but he had 10 off the bench the other night in just 17 minutes. He bombs threes. And Guy Santos starts, and he gets points as well. So I like both guys over their props. You can get, 10 points or so for each. I think it's great.
Man, you talk about who for the Warriors tonight with a very depleted roster. Guy Santos.
Nobody healed either.
Nobody healed. You don't have Buddy chucking him up tonight as well.
No TJD, no Trace Jackson Davis.
They shipped him out of town too over the last couple hours. All right, the other games this evening. My Hornets in Houston against the Rockets. Hornets also, they have reshaped themselves quite a bit. I did see that Kobe White's not going to play till after the All-Star break. Plus 4.5 they're getting in Houston against the Rockets. 219.5 the total. Man, the Rockets were so pathetic last night. They really were.
Yeah, I'm surprised Udoka didn't hit someone in the locker room. He just gets so fired up, and I'm sure he was furious to lose to Boston. I don't know what to make of this game. I was hoping the Rockets could cruise yesterday, and then we could load up on the Hornets today. I just think it's a really bad spot. But I'm not betting against Charlotte. I'm just not. Right now, they're on fire. I wish they kept Sexton. I don't think they needed to trade for a shooter, but they have more shooting now. They're a dangerous team. I got a buddy who's buying them all the futures market to win the division, to win the play-in, to win the West, or win the East, excuse me. It's hilarious, but why not? I mean, we've seen teams make a second half run like the Mavs a couple years ago, right? They made that run in the second half of the season with Luka. This Charlotte team's impressive. Kneppel gets better every day. I don't love Bridges, but as a fourth best player, that's fine. And LaMelo's pretty darn good. And they're only a couple games back, in their Southeast. So we talked about it on the show. Whatever I said to bet them at whatever, what were their futures odds to win the division? There's just a lot to like with this team, and they've covered 4 or 5. They've won 7 or so in a row. I'm not betting against them right now.
The Mavericks also looking very different at home tonight against the Spurs. Spurs on the road -8, 229.5 the total.
Yeah, I don't have a real feel for this Dallas team. Flag's been great, and then Najee Marshall's been nice. I just they cover, actually. They cover weird games, and they give teams a run, and then they lose, which is probably what they want at this point to go for the draft. I don't know. Not in a rush to bet against the Mavs, but I think the Spurs upside is there. I just thought like yesterday was a weird game for them. So I just don't know I don't have a good read on San Antonio for this particular game after yesterday's game with Houston, with OKC.
You mentioned you did see the Sixers the other night against the Warriors. Now tonight they're in LA against the Lakers. Lakers -4, 233. Flat as the total. I'm always the travel police here, Doug. I don't like this. They were in LA. They made him go to Golden State. Now back to LA. I mean, they couldn't play the 2 LA games and then go to Golden State. Let's go, NBA. Get this stuff right.
It's a good point. I didn't think of it like that. I know I like how you are the schedule police. That's good. I lean Sixers here. The number feels a little high. But the Lakers firepower, man. Now they've been trucking like bad teams, the Nets and the Wizards. I think the numbers will, I would have made it 3, 2.5, 3. So a little bit of value. Lean Sixers. I wouldn't get involved. I think Maxi's going to go off. He didn't play that great the other night. I think Maxi's going to go off.
The best of the rest. Any interest in the Wizards catching 15 points in Detroit tonight against the Pistons? 14.5. I got it at 15.
It's a big number. They're a fun team at times. Probably not. I just think they're really – now, I will say this is the time you want to bet against the Pistons. They got the Knicks tomorrow night at home. So, yeah, it's it's Wizards or pass. It's Wizards first half or pass.
Yeah.
I might have to come off the bench and bet the Wizards first half. I do think there's some line value there because Pistons are all about tomorrow. And who takes the Wizards seriously? No one. As long as Star's playing and some of these other guys. Now, there have been some trades, right? Jaden Hardy's not going to play yet. This could be a skeleton crew for Washington, but Pistons are not going to take them seriously.
I am excited for when the Wizards can finally roll out the all these guys never play team when Trey and AD finally both get out there. These guys never play. I can't wait to finally.
Don't hold your breath because AD, Kyrie, and Cooper Flagg have never played a game together.
Yes, so true. The Nets are getting 9.5 in Orlando against the Magic tonight. You have that, and the other game is your Jazz catching 9 as well in Atlanta against the Hawks. How about, we're back in the 240s. I haven't seen one all week. I think 244.5 with the Jazz and the Hawks.
Yeah, I know a guy who bet overnight in that game. I mean, it's hard. I mean, that game should just fly over. But no Keontae George. And obviously still no Jaren Jackson Jr. But no George makes me, I can't bet over 240. But they will run and gun, and Markkanen is playing. But I'm going to need a little more than for a 244.5. As for the other game, I mean, I can't figure out this Orlando team, and that's been the case for like a month and a half. When they're not full strength, like Wagner's still out, right, Franz? So I think the number's a little rich for these favorites, but I'm not in a rush to take the dogs either.
There you go. That is our evening in the NBA just after the trade deadline. 8 games tonight for us on Betting Weekly Live. And if you like what you see on Betting Weekly Live, as you should, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube, where you can catch us and all of our other shows, including released earlier today, Betting Weekly EPL. Dan Roebuck, Nigel Seeley, and Jack Wright preview match day 25 of the Premier League, including the thrilling clash, Liverpool and Man City this weekend. How about that? So Dan, Nigel, and Jack have got you all set up for that. Betting Weekly EPL. All right, Doug. College hoops this evening. We've actually got men and the ladies a couple games to go through. Why don't we start with Michigan? Of course, just after 6:30 East on FS1, they are home for Penn State. Now, you remember the earlier meeting between these two teams. Penn State hung tough with them, 74-72. Michigan only won by a bucket. But tonight, 25.5, 161.5 the total.
Yeah, here's what I've learned over the years with these situations. Michigan does not care that they almost lost to Penn State. Conventional thought, or maybe initial thought, would be like, oh, they're not going to mess around here. They learned their no, they're worried about like Sparty last week, who they beat, and they're worried about winning a national championship. They know that wasn't indicative of who they are, and they're not worried about that. So I don't think there's revenge angle for Michigan because they did win the game. Okay. With that being said, we've also had some dead dogs this week. We've taken some dogs with fleas, and like Xavier got boat raced at the mall in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
We've had some other teams just get crushed. So there's no number not big enough. With that being said, I got to take the Nittany Lions here. I just think Michigan, remember, they had not covered 7 straight. They had a really impressive game against Sparty, but I still think this team's got some warts. Now those show more on the road than at home, but we're talking 25.5 points. And the biggest reason, Michigan's got Illinois on deck.
Yeah, which is a big one. Obviously, Illinois has been playing great. Excited for that. 25.5 is a monstrous number there this evening in Ann Arbor. All right, Big 12, just
Sorry,
after
they got
7.
Ohio State. I misspoke. I misspoke. I think Sparty. I got my wires crossed. They're on the road at Ohio State. They're rival next. So
They are. Yes.
I just think Penn State's that bad at times, but I think we're going to be okay here. I think it's going to be a sweat, but I lean to the underdog here.
Yeah, at Ohio State Sunday afternoon before the Super Bowl, 1 o'clock East is where they have that game. They do have Illinois later this month. They are playing Illinois later this month on the road in Champaign. And they play Duke this month too.
Yeah, there's a gauntlet there where they have to face some decent teams. They're at Purdue, at Illinois, and in between there they got Duke.
Just after
at Iowa and Sparty, and
they got a tough schedule, very tough schedule coming down the stretch. West Virginia at Cincinnati tonight, just after 7 o'clock on the Deuce. Bearcats minus 5.5, 127.5. This was one that these always catch my eye, Doug, when we've got the team with the better record, catching points on the road, et cetera, et cetera. But you're not as scared of West Virginia tonight, are you?
No. So with these situations, I think it's kind of like we talked about yesterday and previous days with the Big East. I think you just got to grab the points. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if West Virginia wins. Cincinnati's not that good. They got lost by double digits at ASU. Like, they're not good. West Virginia is not good either, but they've been sneaky okay. Like, I just think 5.5 is a lot of points in these games that come down to the wire and whatnot. And I don't know. I just there's no way I'm laying the 5.5.
Yeah, it's hard for me to lay 5.5 with Cincinnati. They're not that great. They're just not. The later Big Ten game after Michigan Penn State, Ohio State in College Park against the Terps just after 8:30 East with the Buckeyes minus 7.5 on the road.
I really think you and I could play better defense than some of the Maryland starters.
They stink.
It's awful.
They stink.
It's awful. I have to lay it with the Buckeyes. They're not good. But this Maryland team is special, and I know they're at home, and we just saw Minnesota beat Sparty, and I know you got to be respectful, but this team's 1-9. This is not Minnesota, right? Like yesterday. I just think, they just lost by 30 at home to Purdue. They did kill Penn State. Ohio State's much better though, so. It's in a normal world, I would not be laying 7.5 on the road with this type of a team, but I think Maryland's defense is that calls for it. So I'm going to lay the 7.5.
I'm not there this year, Doug, but I just got my first true man I miss Radio Row moment when a guy walked by behind you with a giant lizard in his hand. Like, it was like enormous. Now I wish I think
who's the Australian? Oh, Steve Irwin's son, I think, is here with a snake around his neck.
This guy had a huge lizard. I'm like looking at you, boom, this guy's got a huge lizard walking by. All right. Speaking of no defense, Denver's playing tonight. Now, I know they didn't get there first last week on Thursday night, but they got right back on the horse Saturday, blowing through a total over the weekend against Omaha. Tonight, they're playing North Dakota State. It's 156.5. These two played over this the last time they got together. This was the one they just barely. I think they had 159, these two, last time they played. But it's not going to be a best bet tonight, but I'm going back after it, Doug, over in Denver.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the other one that caught my eye is a late night in the Big West. I've got to have some late night game always, as long as it fits. And we've got the Anteaters, maybe the best team, one of the two best teams in the Big West against this awful Cal State Bakersfield team. This is drop the hammer Thursday night, Doug. Minus 16.5 for the Anteaters at home against Cal State Bakersfield.
Okay. I'm not going to get in your way of that one. I do have a write-in vote here.
Okay.
I got a text not too long ago.
Ooh.
Might be some. This used to be the bat signal when I was at ESPN.
Oh boy.
There's a game involving Tarleton and Cal Baptist.
A little whack.
Cal Baptist should roll. Cal Baptist should roll here. The line, I'm going to find it here. I believe it's 10. It's 9.5 at Bet Rivers.
9.5.
So I think Cal Baptist. My thing is I don't know if I want to do the team total for Tarleton under or Cal Baptist minus the 9.5. So I think I want to do team total. I mean, 64.5 is not a big number. That's a concern.
Let's lay it with Cal Baptist. Let's just roll 9.
Lay it. Okay. I think we should lay it with the 9.5.
I think it's a good number too, because I see 10.5s, 11s at other places. I think 9.5 is a really good number.
Yeah, I think there's some leaking information.
Yeah.
All
right.
I mean, this Tarleton State team's been bad all year, so it's not like Duke, all of a sudden bad for a game. They've been bad all year. It's
Tarleton State.
I've been betting on Cal Baptist a long time. Yeah.
Gotta love these late night conferences, the WAC, the Big West, the Mountain West. We love this stuff. It's just we can't get away from it.
State's 2-7 in conference.
You don't gotta twist my arm. I know that. You don't gotta twist my arm.
They recently lost by 28 at home. Yeah, they've lost a bunch in a row. They're pretty shaky.
Drop the hammer. Drop the hammer, Doug. Let's go. Last thing in college hoops. A lot of really good women's games tonight. I know we have LSU in Texas. We have got Ole Miss, Alabama. We have got Duke, Louisville. There's a lot of really good game on the women. Anything catch your eye?
Yeah, I talked to my guy. He doesn't have a play. He thinks the numbers are right. Louisville is interesting because they're very well coached. Their upside's really big. But Duke with Kara Lawson has just been on fire. Trucking teams, they cover like every game in January. Seriously, covered every game in January. So I just don't want to bet against them. And she's been so spot on. And she's got, look, she was one of my favorite colleagues at ESPN. We did radio together. I'm going to be biased, but her time with the Celtics, and she's the Team USA coach. So this is no slouch, right? Replacing Brenda Free. So I think she's just awesome. So I got to pass here, but I probably would take Louisville at home. They can beat you in a lot more ways than Duke, but I've been so impressed with what Kara's doing, and don't want to really bet against her because when a team's peaking, you just don't want to catch the falling knife, as they say.
You do not want to do that at all. That's for sure. Duke and Louisville tonight in women's college hoops. Got LSU, Texas going as well. All right, hockey to finish us off, and I'm sad, Doug, because I've really started to get things cooking a little bit. I've had a really good couple nights with the pucks, and now they're just going to rip them away from me after tonight. The NHL.
Yeah, somebody in the chat was making fun of how sad you sound, how looked and sounded when you mentioned it.
It's tough because I feel like I've really been getting cooking a bit, and now I'm going to have to go to the international game here over the next 3 weeks. There it is. The Amish electrician brought it up. Mike looks so sad when he talks about the hockey break. I am sad, but you know what? We got 7 games tonight. And yes, Rose, no doubt, Rose Putt. Don't be sad. We'll crush Olympic hockey, brother. The women in the United States got off to a good start, a 5-1 win over the Czechs this morning. So they're off and running. 7 games to take us into the Olympic break tonight. We have Buffalo, who, of course, are 24-2 in their last 26 games. This is one team that does not want to go into the Olympic break, but unfortunately for them, they are. And they finish it off at home against the Penguins tonight. Now, the number did move a bit, Doug. This was 140 this morning. It's down to 125. Leon's playing goal for the Sabres, and he's been really hot. So I don't know what moved the line a little bit there. But minus 125 for the Sabres at home. And I just I can't go away from them. I really can't. Not with the way they've played.
Why would you? Now, I get it. If you're just jumping in and haven't been riding them, I understand the apprehension. Going to pass, whatnot. But if you've been on them like you have,
we've been there.
then I think you kind of have to keep playing it unless something's drastic, like two guys are out or a goalie's change or whatever. I certainly understand the thought process there.
John's a big Sabre guy in the chat box. Let's finish strong. He's a big Sabre guy, John, so he's getting involved as well. I'm on the Sabres
now, in the NBA,
yes.
All-Star Week is very dangerous. You just don't know if they're planning parties and whatnot, like going into like the long break. That Monday through Thursday games, you got to be really careful.
Right.
Is that the case here with hockey? Are you a little worried about senioritis?
I kind of felt that. I know I mentioned it to you briefly yesterday about some of the teams where last night was their last game. I didn't really feel that way. We had a fun, competitive game that got over with Calgary and Edmonton. They're both now done. We had Dallas and St. Louis play a crazy game. So it actually, teams were playing, like they cared. So I'm not as concerned about that tonight, Doug. I'm really not with these teams. Now, there are a few teams that
it's a variable you have to account for. You have to at least think about it.
Well, I think that the one thing I am looking at with at least two of these teams tonight is there are teams that I think are dying to get to this break. They haven't been playing well. Things haven't been going well for them, and they could use the 3 weeks off. And I think that the Devils are one of those teams. The way that they have played the last several weeks, they have not been good. They're not going to have Hughes in the lineup again tonight. They're playing Jake Allen, their backup. The Islanders have Sorokin in. I think this is a green light go for the Islanders here this evening to go into the break with a win. So,
I like it. You got to look at all the surroundings, all the variables with the wager. You got to be smart, which you are. I think you're flushing it out. I think that's the right way to do it.
There's one thing I'll give you one small caveat about this game. The last time the Islanders and Devils played, about 3.5 weeks ago, Islanders beat them 9-0. Smoked them 9-0.
Oh, Devils first period. Devils to score first. What are we looking at?
I'm saying, do we, is this something that maybe we got to consider, or have the Devils just been so bad that it's not gonna matter?
This is where you got to,
Devils
Twitter
first.
handicap. You got to cap on Twitter and search what the beat writer's saying about what the players are saying, because I think that gives you all you need to know.
Devils to win the first period is plus 185. It's to win the first period, not score first. Win the first.
I think score first. I think score first is the answer.
Score first. I'd have to find the score first for us on that one. We'll find that one as well. But that is something that, and I didn't think of that also early this morning. And then as I was going through it a little bit more, I remember, oh man, they had that 9-0 game where they embarrassed me. So I'm still going Islanders. I'm still going to go there. Nashville's in Washington against the Capitals. Caps are big favorites. Carolina's in the Garden against the Rangers. They're enormous favorites. They just dominate the Rangers every time they play them, too. Ottawa is in Philly.
Rangers get dominated in a lot of games.
They're having a lot of problems. Panthers and Lightning tonight in Tampa. Man, the Bruins almost came back and got Florida last night. It was so close. They came back from down 2 in the third and lost in a shootout. But those two, and then Kings and Vegas at night. This is the other one, Doug, that I'm going to go after here. And I like the over 6 in this game. We've seen the Knights start to score some goals. These two teams, 5 of the last 6 have gone over the total. Kings looked awful last night against Seattle. They gave up 4 goals and lost at home. I think we get the over 6. I'm tempted to take the Vegas Knights on the puck line too, minus a goal and a half at plus 180. I'm tempted.
I've been wrong on probably every Golden Knights game. Every time we've discussed this, we had the under once. Once I was sharp on the under, and then every other time I think they're going to win. Sides are not good for me with the Golden Knights. But the Kings have been sharp as can be, right? Is the bread man playing?
I don't believe he's in tonight. I think they're waiting until after the break to put him in the lineup. They've kind of sputtered here into the break too. That's the other team I was looking at that's kind of sputtering a little bit. Is the Kings. They haven't been consistent. I'll say that. I like Vegas's game right now. I like the way Vegas is playing. I think that this is a go for me. I am. Look, considering where they were, let's say early to mid-December, and maybe you can factor in some of it as these other teams in the Pacific kind of fell back a little bit. They've blasted past everybody and they're in first. They just have. They're the best team probably in that division. I think they're better than Edmonton. And I think that they'll take care of the Kings tonight, but I think I like this over a little bit more, Doug, than I like the side in it. So we'll go up, and away.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get involved with Golden Knights games, at least for the time being. I got to get back on track with them.
And yes, Diego, the Blue Jackets last night was a layup. Blue Jackets regulation, 4-0 win over the Blackhawks. That was another good one that we had. Giroux returns to Philly tonight. Hasn't he been there a couple times, Steve? He's been to Philly a few times, Giroux. Maybe he missed the game last year. I'm not sure, but I'm not as concerned about Giroux. All right, Doug, let's do it. Sorokin over on saves. Maybe if you think the Devils are going to come out flying, maybe you get it. The weird thing was, Doug, in the 9-0 game, the Devils did outshoot him by like 20 shots in the game, and Sorokin was ridiculous in it. So maybe that's not a bad one, Steve, when you actually go back and think about it. Best bets in the Daily Double. We're going for 4 in a row tonight with the Daily Double. I am going to go to the Buffalo Sabres. I felt really good about it. Minus 125 at home against the Penguins. Going to the break. This team's 24-2 over these since early December, and I think they go into the break flying high. Give me Buffalo tonight, Doug.
All right. I like it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you're rolling with that. I really gave serious thought to Cal Baptist, but I just think these Warriors bigs are going to be able to score in this game tonight. So I'm going to go Quinton Post. My concern is foul trouble, but Phoenix plays such a outside in sort of game. And I think Post he's going to be okay not getting in foul trouble. At least I hope. So I'll go over 8.5 points for Quinton Post off the bench, mind you. And he can bomb though. He can get this in like first quarter. I mean, that's how much he can shoot effectively. So I'm going to roll with that. And look, we got a trimmed down card, but we got to stay hot with our daily doubles. I'm going to the trenches, going to the battle with Quinton Post here.
All right, so here we go, Doug. For tonight, daily double at Betting Weekly Live. Sabres money line and Quinton Post over 8.5 points plus 256. I thought I was going to hurt us with the minus 125, but you came in.
I made up for it.
You made up for it with Post. So plus 256. The daily double this evening at Bet Rivers. Doug, tremendous job as always. Go back to hanging out with everybody there. Radio Row in San Francisco, Super Bowl 60. We will see you again tomorrow. A big Friday show. Final one before the Super Bowl, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific, as we head into a fun Super Bowl weekend. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Have a great night, and we will see you back here tomorrow.